live in a magical world that sometimes defies our perception. Today I'm here to ask the question, what if? What if we were able to change our reality at this moment, every moment? I'm here surrounded by an energy that connects us all, a universal intelligence that exists within us all, that recognizes there's a beautiful power within us to heal the body, that's constantly dancing around us in a beautiful, poetic, sometimes awkward form that's sometimes hard to see. And that combination of the immaterial or the universal intelligence that exists and the material of matter and the thing that combines them, of force, sometimes one push, force, word, or presence has the effect of changing our whole environment. If you take a look at Grand Central Station with all the hustle and bustle that exists of people going to and fro, at the surface, it seems there's utter chaos. What's going on? And as the stations change and the environment changes, those within that environment also change. And it seems maybe that chaos increases. But yet, every one of those people has a location that they're going to and from. There's perfect order within that, even though it may seem there's chaos. Why is this important? Because when we look at someone who's healthy, sometimes it's easy to see that order. But yet in sickness, sometimes this order is difficult to see. When we look at the aging process, on the surface, it seems fairly straightforward. When we age, our metabolic processes slow down. We start getting older. And yet, researchers at Harvard found, Ellen Langer started an interesting research where she looked at the power of the mind to change our physiology. And what she found when she took 180-year-olds and put them in a compound reminiscent of the 1950s and said, I don't want you to think like you're in the 1950s. I want you to actually be like you're in the 1950s. And what she found at that moment was interesting. What she found was that overwhelmingly, these people in this compound stepped back 30 years. Their bodies changed. Just from the thought, the collective reality that resulted in thinking that they were in a different time and space. Their blood pressure went down. Their heart rate normalized back 30 years. Even their skin elasticity went back 30 years. And I say this because even despite all these beautiful studies that have been done, that are maybe not double-blind standard tests, double-blind scientific studies, or maybe not the gold standard of scientific research, they illustrate that there's a beauty in the world around us, in the human body, in our own health, even in sickness and in wellness. And that reality that was created in that moment changes in a moment. And what was before completely can alter based on a perception. I want to talk about the power of language. In nonviolent communication, there's 4 basic premises of looking at how we speak. Observations, feelings, needs, and requests. And why am I talking about NVC at a chiropractic conference? I'm talking about MVC or nonviolent communication, because it helps tap us in to what's going on in our bodies. Because when we try to repress what's going on with our feelings and emotions, sickness can result. And so as practitioners, I think it's very important to work on things that help us be more present. Because when we're present with our patients, or with those around us, people notice, and there's an effect that it has that's greater than maybe what we can perceive. A few years ago, my cousin didn't show up to work. And he didn't show up to work, and so they called the emergency number. And they said, "Where's Sean?" And no one knew. So they went to his apartment, and they found him in the shower, passed out, unconscious. And that was the first time they diagnosed us with type 2 diabetes. And so from that point on, and he was an average American, kind of ate an average American diet. Not super unhealthy, not super healthy. Not super overweight, kind of average. And so when he went to the doctor, they put him on the standard protocol, which basically regulated his blood glucose levels. Several years later, as he was going through and managing his life better, he never woke up. And I tell you this story because the doctors that were treating him didn't have this concept of innate intelligence. They didn't believe in this idea that there's an innate intelligence within us. And so they put him on a regimen that didn't work with the body, but instead tried to alter the physiological process of the body. This makes me feel very sad. And I see as chiropractors, we have this amazing ability to be able to inspire people and change their reality based on our confidence, based on our certainty, based on love and gratitude, and based on the fact that we're connected in a present way to those around us. We have the possibility to make a huge impact on people's lives. So how are we testing ourselves every day and seeing that greater picture that exists beyond that matter that maybe is easy to define in a black and white scenario or on a multiple choice test, but maybe bigger than that? And it's something that we see every day. Whether it's being in front of a friend and the way that that makes you feel, even when there's no touch. Or maybe someone gives you a hug, and how does that make you feel? My point is there's something bigger than what we can define in charts and graphs and scientific research. It's not that scientific research is bad or we need to not do that. It's just that there's something bigger. There's something more important. When we tap into the human needs that exist within our patients, what is the human need of someone who's sick or ill with cancer or diabetes? Is it a need for safety? Is it a need for connection? Is it a need for acceptance? And how are we, when we are communicating with them, just in our presence, showing that love, certainty, gratitude, and presence? And it may seem like a simple thing, But that transition that happens in those around us, even though we may think that it takes for a long time or a longer time to have a big transition in our life, that transition can happen in a moment. And so I challenge you to think about the power of your presence, the power of your words in this moment right now to change the reality of those around you, to inspire them to live a fuller life. The definition of inspiration is to be full of spirit. And that, to me, sounds like a worthy goal. Thank you.